Hello and welcome to Take Time. I'm your host Patrick Marlette, and let's talk about shiznits and royals. And no, I'm not referring to things that are indeed the shit, or Lord's hit single royals. I'm referring to ToxicNATOs wares. So ToxicNATO is a brand I've been referred to and constantly asked to review here on the channel multiple times, a multitude of times, so many times, because I'm told that they make some of the best straps on the market. And I'm happy to report that Terry over at ToxicNATOs is doing a really awesome job. And in case you guys don't know, Terry is the guy who owns and operates ToxicNATOs, and the guy himself has so much character, and his wrist straps have a lot of attitude. Now, just to further remark on the attitude I am referring to, this is very untraditional for the channel, but I'm going to read a quote from Terry's website regarding the jungle green toxic shiznit over here. A little history of the wares we hawk. Our hardware is forged from the remnants of Hattori Hanzo's blade, while our nylon is grifted from the last remaining silk import of Marco Polo. Together they are delicately assembled by hand-groomed eunuchs that have been nursed from the birth on toxic milk. Yeah, that's how these straps are made, in case you were wondering. And I'm very excited to go over, as I do with all of my reviews, the bad and then the good, and then my final opinion of the piece. Now, when I receive a package and I notice that the company producing the product took a lot of time and effort to produce a quality experience when the item arrives at your door, I like to take a second to just talk about that. And I think what Terry did with the presentation is really awesome. Now, inside the packaging for my ToxicNATO goodies, I found a specimen bag for a biohazardous material, some toxic waste candy, which is no longer there, and all of my straps neatly placed inside of this bag. And I really like that presentation. I like that he went with the theme and was consistent on it and followed through with the experience all the way up to my doorstep. I know for a lot of you that doesn't matter, but for me, it's a really cool element to provide and also aids the experience a whole lot. So props for that. Awesome, awesome work there. Also, in concerns to the packaging, to make life easier for reviewers, they are placed inside bags with little notes as to the scale and dimension of the straps. Now, while we're looking at these plastic wraps, the Royal is the one that is this raft style strap here. Royal Air Force is where the Royal name comes from, I'm assuming, but it is a, shorter nylon strap with a mobile nylon keeper, and then we have the shiznit in the background here. But it's really nice to know the overall scale of these straps as you receive them, and also note that beyond the 20mm lug widths of these straps, that they also come with 22mm lug width as well. Now, to start off our review, I want to remark on the one and only bad note I have to say about the Royal strap, and that is the comfort of it on the wrist. So the thickness on this guy is great. 1.2mm thick is the perfect size, and what's really nice is that it's a single piece nylon, so it doesn't add that much girth to the wrist. And the 270mm length is perfect as well, because this isn't the type of strap that you would fold over, not traditionally. You'll usually just let it rest on the other end of the keeper and stick out, and it does so pretty well. However, on the rear end here, one of the things that really bugged me about the strap, and as a matter of fact, the only thing that really bugged me, was how this detail was finished here. So we have a buckle that's sewn into the strap. However, the edge here initially was extremely sharp and would dig into my wrist. So I have an image I'm going to put up on the screen of the strap, how it initially came. It was very jagged and pokey, for lack of a better word, and it dug into my wrist as I wore it day to day. It was extremely uncomfortable, virtually unwearable. I did have to take a lighter to this, and I set it there for a while to get this edge to flatten out, and hopefully you can tell how sharp it was from that image to how it looks now. But it was something that I needed to modify on receipt. But again, once it's been fixed like it is now, it's actually very comfortable on the wrist. It's no longer an issue. And that was actually the only bad note I had about the Royal, is just it didn't wear very comfortably at first. Otherwise, the strap wears extremely well, and I'm very happy to move on to the good notes regarding it. But first, I do want to touch on the bad notes regarding the shiznit. Now, the shiznit was extremely fun to wear. It was really hard to get my Seiko off of this strap to then test the Royal back there, but I did it somehow. And the strap is very similar in its weave to another wrist strap I reviewed on the channel, and I'll put the card up here at the top right of your screen so you can check out that review as well. But this nylon weave is fantastic and an extremely wearable strap. However, there are some bad notes I'd like to mention. Now, as you may have noticed, the Shiznit is 1.5 millimeters thick, and it does wear very large on the wrist. It is a thicker strap, and as it is a NATO by design, you're looking at something that adds 3 millimeters to your watch. Now, again, NATOs aren't traditionally worn on watches that need to go under the cuff, but if you're trying to wear this on a larger watch, it may add a little too much presence to said watch. However, I'd like to state that on thinner watches like that Seiko I have back there, it wears perfectly well and is a really fun experience. So if thick straps are not your thing, you might not prefer the Shiznit. Now, the next bad note I want to get out of the way here is the coloration of this strap. It's marketed as jungle green, and in the illustrations on the website, you'll notice that the strap itself appears brown. And he does state in the description that the coloration is sort of chameleon in style. It may appear brown sometimes, it may appear green. I'll state that it predominantly in person and day to day looked green, although under this light it looks brown. It's very odd having a strap that looks like this. So it may be deceiving if you were looking for a brown strap, maybe not this one. If you were looking for a green strap, a jungle green strap as the name would suggest, this is a really good offering because it does appear predominantly green. And you can see what I'm talking about with the green felt background of my game table there, and the strap, it does look brown in this light and by contrast, but it definitely appears more green on the wrist. Now, other than the thickness of the strap and the coloration being chameleon-like, if you were looking for something that was either brown or green, not necessarily both, I just have a lot of good things to say about these two straps. And let's start with the first good note, and that is the price. The Royal that's in front of us weighs in at about $10 currently, and the Shiznit is $28. This strap at $28, any one of Terry's competitors would be able to market this strap for $40, $40 plus, and sell it easily. But the fact that you can pick this up for $28 is such good value for money that I've seen from all of the straps I've ever reviewed. But why don't we start with the Royal first in regards to the good notes, because that is the turn order we started with initially. Now, pretty much everything about the Royal I like a whole lot. Now, this is listed on his site as the Royal XL, and these measure about 270 millimeters in total length, including the buckle. So you have a strap that's going to wear extremely well for anyone with a 6-inch wrist to an 8-inch wrist. And I have a 7¼ inch wrist. And of course, I'll provide you guys with a wrist shot of the watch on both of these straps in a second. And you'll see what I'm talking about with how they wear. But they don't provide any other links, at least not in their own respective categories. The only thing you can change optionally is the width of these straps, but that's not necessarily an issue. If you have a 20 or 22 millimeter strap, you will be happy with either of these, but for $10, you'll be very happy if you wanted a raft style strap by getting the Royal. The strap itself is extremely well constructed and thin at 1.2 millimeter thickness, so it's not going to add much girth at all to your watch. Also, it's just one of the finer raft straps I've ever received. I really like this style of strap, and I've had such a tough time finding one I like. And at $10, I don't think you're going to find a better deal, especially for a strap with a great, stainless steel fixed buckle. This does such a great job of holding the watch down, and the multitude of perforations with the perfect width between them. This has just been a really great wearing strap. And again, at $10, why not? It is extremely affordable. There's no excuse not to buy it. And what sucks is I feel like a lot of people are going to miss out on Terry's raft style strap because for the most part, I feel like us consumers, we default to brands we're accustomed to buying from. Like we'll go to Amazon to buy whatever strap because it's $8 and just mediocre. But give these off brands a chance. Like ToxicNATO, he doesn't market on any other sources. I'll leave a link in the description to his site, but honestly, I've worn a bunch of raft straps in the past and I've never been overly impressed. This is one of the better ones I've seen, and there's a whole array of color options too. So do check out the link and do check out those straps. Here's what the Royal XL is going to look like for all of your admirers. And when you are going to admire your favorite watch head on the Royal, it will look something like this. So here is the Royal on my Seiko Railway Time. And you can tell the pairing is really, really handsome. I love the dark gray with the fuchsia accents and paper white dial of this watch. It's a really, really handsome look. And you can see back there the tongue sticking out of the keeper. And of course, I can adjust this floating keeper to, bear it down just a little bit more. Also, I could just adjust where the watch is seated on the single piece strap, and I can adjust where that is to any point of the strap because there is no secondary strap like a NATO would have with that additional keeper to hold it in place. So, if it bothers you having this up here, you can honestly work the watch all the way down here to where it would be behind your wrist if you so chose. But it has a really great profile on the wrist, and I'm quite a fan of how this Royal strap wears. And also, I've noticed people concerned that their watch head will fall off the strap should it be a single piece like this. I have to say, it's never been an issue. I think with how most watches are constructed, these single piece straps are going to hold it in place just off of how the strap, the nylon, curves around the watch body. They usually set in place quite nicely, so it shouldn't be an issue for you if that was a concern. And again, that's why most NATOs have that secondary strap. In case, one of these spring bars broke off, this is going to hold your watch in place. That's, again, not a concern. But that secondary strap on a NATO is just to keep it gravitating in that area. But again, if you don't like how the strap is seated on your wrist, you have all this real estate to play with. So these single piece nylons are great. I'm surprised I don't advocate for more of them on the show because this is my favorite construction of nylon strap. I much prefer just having the single piece because I don't like the added thickness, except if it's on a great strap. So let's move on to the Shiznit now. Now the Shiznit is maybe perfection. It's a really great strap. And again, I would like to thank everyone who told me to reach out to Terry, get some of his straps in on the show because they found it to be a great experience. So all you guys who are subscribers of the channel who have recommended Terry in the past, thank you so much. ToxicNATOs is a really great brand, and it's backed by a guy who's extremely genuine and just really fantastic individual. And there's more I want to mention about him in a few, but let's carry on with these straps. He actually sent a handful of things my way. There's one more strap that might dethrone the Shiznit, and that is the N80. But regarding the Shiznit, so many good qualities. Now, the hardware on both of these straps is great, but the hardware featured on the Shiznit is amongst some of the best hardware I've seen on any NATO style strap. This is such heavy-duty steel. I love the hexagonal type keepers, and I absolutely love the buckles construction. I know Terry would have much preferred having fixed buckles, but I find that these ones that utilize spring bars do the job very, very well. And especially if you're interested in customizing your straps, it's nice that you can remove the buckle and switch it out. So that is a minor good note, but let me move on to some of the other ones. Now, aside from the killer hardware, which you can see now, and that amazing nylon weave on the Shiznit, this is his premium strap, by the way, you have fixed keepers and a fixed length. Now, so far as I can tell, the Shiznit does not come in any other scale aside from 290 millimeters. But here's what I'll say about that. It has proven to be the perfect length. Could it be longer? Maybe, but it's not necessary because 290 seems to be the sweet spot, at least for my 7¼ inch wrist. And also, the fixed keepers on this do a perfect job. Now, I normally push for floating keepers on my modern NATO straps, I find that they generally do a better job of holding the strap down and also provide better wearability options. However, whatever Terry did, whatever formula he came up with to create the Shiznit strap, it does such an amazing job of holding the watch down. And while we're looking at it, I just want you guys to take in all of the real estate you have between the secondary keeper and this bottom keeper here. You could put any sized watch on this strap easily. You know, there's no doubt in my mind that if you had a Marine Master and you wanted to throw it on here, it shouldn't be an issue. There's so much space for any watch head. Also, while we're looking at the strap, I want to note that all of the hardware on his straps have an indication as to what width they are on the buckle itself. So that's a really cool feature in case you're going through your bag of straps and or, you know, however you store them and we're looking for the right size. It's right there on the buckle because the width is consistent all throughout the length of the strap. And now that we're looking at the tail end, oh my gosh, these are some of the best perforations on any strap I've ever received. They're sealed very well. Also, the spacing is perfect. They're nice and tight. This is some of the tightest spacing I've seen on a nylon strap. And the tighter these are, the better wearability options you'll receive. And the Shiznit does a great job of spacing the holes on its strap. And now before we move on to my final thoughts on these two straps, I want to give you guys a wrist shot so you can see what the Shiznit looks like. Now here is what the Shiznit is going to look like when everyone else is admiring it, and when you go to admire it, it's going to look a little something like this. Yeah, look at that little bun, look at that little curl on top. This looks really killer in combination with this watch. I actually like the dual tone nature of the jungle green strap. I think it's really, really flattering in any light, either the brown or green. And those are both really great tones for most dial face options. So, you know, the coloration shouldn't be a huge issue, but the wearability of the strap is king. If I can turn my wrist over and show you guys, I love where the buckle rests on the wrist. And I'll show you off of my wrist as well, but the curvature just makes it rest so perfectly on the wrist. It's extremely, extremely comfortable. And the top half, the length is absolutely perfect with those fixed keepers. And again, I want to show you guys in a close-up what this looks like off my wrist, but so you guys can tell, it's a really handsome looking strap. Now this is exactly where I wear this strap on my wrist, 2, 4, 6 holes in from the center of the strap. And you'll see here that the fixed keepers do a fantastic job of holding the tongue, the rest of the strap, down. And I could do it either this way and just have enough space to fit it under that other keeper. So if you prefer having the curl on top, you can do it like so, and it should work out just fine. Let me see. And again, this is if you have a 7 1/4 inch wrist. If you have a little bit longer wrist, it may not work. But if you want to get rid of that look altogether, you can fold it under perfectly as well. And I think, you know, that's sort of the magic of this strap. It just looks great either way you decide to curl the tongue in. It's just a fantastic look, and I'm really, really a fan of this strap. It was one of the finer NATOs on the market. Again, for that price, it's exceptional, and you can see what I'm talking about with the buckle. That is where my wrist would be seated, and it would just do a great job of hugging the side of your wrist as well. Now, I did the Royal in the Shiznit review in the same video because the Royal is sort of Terry's entry-level model, where the Shiznit is his premium offering. However, the one that is most abundant, the model that is most abundant amongst his wares is the N80. It's sort of his standard model, and I honestly think it might be the best amongst them, or at least the model I received is fantastic, and I'm going to do that one in a separate video. But so far as the Royal is concerned, it's excellent. At $10, it's a really good deal. And so far as the Shiznit is concerned, this jungle green Shiznit, $290, perfect length for anyone with a 7-inch wrist and over. The price is fantastic. It wears very well. It looks really good. It's super rugged, super nice. You did a really good thing here, Terry. And the last great note I want to mention about Terry's offerings, you know, not only the Shiznit or the Royal, but all of his wares, is that he's always offering great discounts for his audience base. So if the prices weren't affordable enough already, he's worked out discounts that give you 10 to even 15% off, and that is something I want to talk about today. I am so happy I've had the experience to check out these straps, and again, thank you guys so much for telling me to get in touch with Terry. He and I have been corresponding for the last few weeks, not only on his items, but just about the watch world in general, and he's such a cool guy. He's so cool, in fact, that he worked out a discount code with me for you guys. If you guys have ever wanted to test out Terry's wares over at ToxicNATOs.com, you can do so at 15% off with the promo code TAKETIME. The spelling of it precisely is on the screen now. So if you use that promo code, you'll get 15% off your order. I definitely recommend the Shiznit. I definitely recommend the Royal. And the Royals are at a discounted price of $10 at the moment. So it's an even better deal for you guys. And I'm certainly going to recommend the N80. Now expect a review of that watch to come, but guys, this promo code is only for a limited time. So if you have ever wanted to try them out, I'd love to hear your opinions if you buy from him. I think he's a great guy. I've already heard a lot of great opinions of him thus far, but if you are new to his wares, I would love to see what you guys experience as well. Overall, I have had an amazing time with my ToxicNATOs straps. They are definitely mainstays in my collection now. If I'm going out and picking my favorite watch to further the experience, I know I'm going to rely on a ToxicNATO. But beyond the straps themselves, Terry is one of the most genuine, authentic business owners, and you can see it from the website down that he is a no-nonsense, no-bullshit individual. You know, the fact that he's offering his wares at such great prices and is so upfront about his business. And I'm going to talk more about that in my N80 review, but he does the craziest field test with his straps to make sure that they are durable, last forever, don't discolor, don't maintain smells. It's crazy, all of the tests he's told me about. But again, I want to refer to those in our N80 review. But if you were curious about the individual selling you these straps, he is super authentic. I wouldn't worry about it. At any rate, guys, those are my opinions of the Royal and the Shiznit. If you own either one of these two straps, let me know your opinion of them. I'd love to hear about it in the comment section down below. And gang, if you found this video enlightening or in the least entertaining, feel free to hit that like button. It looks a little something like this. If you have friends, forums, or groups interested in picking up a quality NATO strap or RAF style strap, maybe share this video with them if they have never heard of the brand, or if you're new to ToxicNATOs, do check them out. You have no excuse now, not with the promo code provided. You're gonna get an awesome experience with these, I promise. I have had such a good time with them. So share the love, guys. Feel free to share this video with anyone you know who is in the market for a good nylon strap. And also, if this is your first time watching the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I do videos twice a week, so if watch content is your thing, maybe this is the channel for you. Again, my name is Patrick Marlatt, and thank you for the time.